Ladies and gentlemen, okhulumayo uSicelo JT Mngomezulu. Welcome to the Source of Inspiration. Namhlanje sizokhuluma nge-absence of leadership in our gentlemen. Do our men know how to lead properly? Are our men equipped with the leadership skills? Because it's God, men, wife, kids. So do men understand the role that they actually have to play lana emphakathini, and do they know ukuthi each and everything that they are doing, they are setting an example? When we speak about a leader, we speak about a person who rules, guides, or inspires. So do our men know how to rule? Not like kings, not like warlocks, not like gods, but to have imithetho ekhaya without going out of the way yokuthi uze wawena ulahleke, because most people, they put rules at home and only to find out ukuthi those rules bahlulekwa wona ukwalandela. But then again, when it comes to leadership, kunezinto okumele si-understand ukuthi kumele siyifunde. So umbuzo ukuthi ngabe abantu besilisa abakhona lapha emphakathini, abakhona lapha around us, are aware ukuthi what is a leader and what roles must they play as leaders, ukuze sikwazi ukuthi sibe ne-community which is strong, sikwazi ukuba ne-community which is going forward, sikwazi ukuthi sibe ney'ngane who are gonna have role models khona lapha emphakathini, not to have kids whose role models are on TV, whose role models are celebrities. The reason they have all that maybe is because the men in our community don't know how to play this leadership role. So we're going to dissect that today. We're going to speak about the pains, the sufferings, and the rewards that umuntu oyi-leader agcine ewathola. Because the sad fact is, not everyone is born to lead. That is a very sad fact. Some people are just natural born followers, and some people are natural born leaders. So can you say what leadership is a learned behavior, or is it a gift, or is it a privilege, or is it how we are raised that brings the end result of you being a leader or you being a follower? All right, yeah. Sicelo JT Mngomezulu on the Source of Inspiration, the absence of leadership in our gentlemen in the community. Sikhuluma ngalokho namhlanje. We'll be back, all right? If you are listening to Sicelo JT Mngomezulu lapha kwa Downtown Radio. Sikhuluma nge-absence of leadership. B is in the community, B is in the family, or maybe within yourself. You cannot lead yourself properly. Yes, it is a very broad subject. So sizokhuluma ngayo namhlanje. We are just going to touch here and there so that we can try and cover most of this subject. See, here's one thing that we actually need to understand. Most of our men have a childhood trauma which is just sitting ngaphakathi kubona, and it's not even showing itself as trauma. Most men are coming from the families of absent fathers. So when you have an absent father in your life, it is very hard for you to find the right position that you actually need to stand on, because it takes a good man to raise a good man. So we have mama who are angry at what their boyfriends did to them, and now they are raising this boyfriend's seed. And when you grow up with this anger umama ayifake kuwena, and because akunyanga uthando, maybe umama was trying to hold here and there, trying to make sure ukuthi you guys have a roof over your head. So basically it was all about surviving, and you learned nothing about leadership. And uma ukhula ungazazi ukuthi how can I lead a family when I was not raised by a man who was leading a family? I was raised by a woman who led me, and mina, I have the wife and kids, and I need to become a leader. So langisuka khona, it is not the same as where I am now. So most men have those problems, and being raised in an environment where a man must be strong, where there's gangsterism, where there's poverty, where you can only be a good man if you go to church. If you don't go to church, you are not classified as a good man. And when you go to church, you only find there are some things which are scary that have been done there. And in the place where you are supposed to be hiding, that's a place where you are finding more secrets. So most men are actually confused. Most men are actually afraid. And they won't even say that they are afraid. When you speak about commitment, say you're asking a man, how come, when are you going to commit? When are you going to have a wife? When are you going to have a family? You find out that they are not ready because they were not raised or taught properly the power that resides within having a family. It's not Kulumge Fast and the Furious, because this is like the biggest family movie that everybody has ever watched. But what I'm trying to say, most men are afraid and they live that fear every day. You find that a man has multiple girlfriends because they are a spare wheel to his heart. If this one breaks his heart, he has this one. He cannot commit to one woman, because committing to a person means that you are giving everything to one person, right or die, And that is why it's easy for women to commit than men, and men find it hard to commit. It's because of this leadership problem that we have. When you are a leader, you have a vision, because a leader must be visionary. And when you have a vision will direct you. And when a vision directs you, a vision will tell you who must be in your life and who must not be in your life. This is the benefit of leading, that you get to choose the people who must come into your life. You see, a person who's a leader knows how to spend their time. They know who to talk to. They know what to speak about. They know where to go, and they know who they should be with at what time. Because in leadership, you need to understand that time is precious. Time is a commodity that you cannot afford to waste. That is leadership. So when you look at our brothers and sisters, and you look at those sisters around them, you ask yourself, do they know these sisters, the kind of men that they chose? Can a woman build a leader out of a man? Or must a woman just choose a man who's going to lead her? These are controversial topics that people can throw them out of the bin or bring them in the bin, or just talk about them or just forget about them. Because our brothers, the moment they fail to lead, then they get to be led. And when they are led, they are fulfilling someone else's dreams, not their dreams. Because when a brother has a dream, this means that he's able to lead himself towards that dream. But when a brother is lacking a dream, lacking a vision, he will be fulfilling someone else's vision and someone else's dream. Because that brother lacks the leading skills, lacks the leading personality within them. So one must look at themselves and be like, am I a good leader to myself? Because if you cannot lead yourself first, you cannot lead others. Now, how do you lead yourself? Self-discipline is number one. Do you have self-discipline? Can you control yourself? Can you say, this I cannot do, this I will do, this I don't want, this I want? Self-discipline, ukuzikhuza, uyakwazi ukuyikhuza. That is the first leadership that must be empowered in you, is self-discipline. And then after that, you can go and venture outside and be a good leader to other your friends, your colleagues, your family. Well, this is JT Mngomezulu, Slawi Downtown Radio. We are speaking about the absence of leadership in our community and in our gentlemen. So yeah, sizokhuluma ngalokho namhlanje ukuthi are our men leading us properly, or are they failing to lead? Is how the world is the product of an empty leadership that we have in this country? Sizokhuluma ngalokho. We'll be back. Alright, sesibuyile usibuyile usicelo JT Mgomezulu la kwa Downtown Radio, kwi-source of inspiration. You know, we are all about inspiring the nation, inspiring the heart, inspiring the mind. So it's called leadership lapha, the absence of leadership, you know. So why leader ne? Means that we have said this earlier on, which you need to be a visionary. And the problem is this, right? When you have a vision, you are creating a scene that does not exist, that only exists in your mind. So the moment it exists in your mind, you start to create everything that you need about that scene in your mind to come right. You know, you start putting the colors, you start putting the certain characters that need to be part of that scene in your mind. You know, that's a vision. Say maybe you want to own a business. So if you want to own a business, certain type of business, that's one thing that you need to understand, which type of business you want to own. And number two, what are you going to be selling? What are you going to be doing in your business? What kind of people do you need? You know, and where is your business going to be built, situated? Where is your business going to be at? You know, that is part of the colors that you put in your mind as a visionary, as a leader. And then when you open your eyes, what you have visioned is not here. So what you're visioning is maybe 5 years from now, and where now you are here. And that is the challenges that most leaders have. When I close my eyes, I see what I want, but when I open my eyes, I am where I don't have what I want, what I need. I am just here on the foundations or on the dust of what I actually need to build. And leadership needs courage. You need to have courage if you're going to become a leader, because not all things are going to be the same. Not all people that you meet are going to actually accept the fact that you are actually a leader. Some people will measure you either by your height or by your weight or by how you just look. And when that happens, you will need to have courage to stand tall. You will need to have courage to stand on your dream, on your vision as a leader. And when you're a leader, you need to take risks, because it's you who knows this vision that you have. As Tina, we are either helping you or just following you or just supporting you, but it is you who needs to know how bad do you want this. You know, that is the question that a leader must ask themselves. How bad do you want this? And when you have that beast which is roaring in you, you know, which is prowling left and right, that cannot rest at night, that every time when you close your eyes you see your vision standing, then that means that you want it badly. That means that you need it badly. You need it more than you need oxygen, you know. And we can never understand how important oxygen is until someone starts choking you. So you will never understand how important being a leader is until you start working for someone else's vision, until you start working for someone else's dream. Then you'll understand, you know what is my vision? You know, am I a good leader? Can I learn how to lead and lead myself out of this poverty? Because everything that you change in your life, it means that you let yourself out of it. You know, you didn't just sit down and be pushed out of poverty, out of pain. You let yourself out of it. You know, someone is hurting right now, and no matter how much antidotes of words they are bringing to them, no matter how much comfort they are flooding them with, but if they are not accepting them, then they won't stop hurting. So they need to lead themselves out of pain. Someone needs to lead themselves out of financial struggles. You know, think differently, change tactics, you know, read books, you know, watch certain shows that are going to teach you on how to manage your finances, you know, because you need to lead yourself out of this situation. So maybe you're going to have a messiah, you know, somebody who's going to come into your life and speak well, and then put put a boost on you, so that while you were already walking out, he just pushes you out. You know, Utaka Perry, he once made an example of the spaceship. With a spaceship, when it is leaving a shuttle, space shuttle, that's a proper word, space shuttle. When it's leaving Earth, it has these boosters, and when these boosters get to at a certain height, they start to fall off. So these boosters are just there to push it off, to push it out of the certain heights. And then when it gets there, these boosters, they fell aside. And then this is when the spaceship is losing its power. So some people are just boosters in your life, so that they can just help you to lead better. But you must not just completely lean on them, because the moment they leave, then you fall. So I think all of us have this fire which is within us, and sometimes this fire dries out and we just need an igniter, somebody who's going to come in and just ignite the flame within us, so that the leadership in us can be born, can be reborn, we can start afresh. Earlier on I spoke about how umuntu wesifazane chooses a man. You see, when you go to these clubs, these posh clubs, you can see with abantu besifazane, they're standing there, they are trying to spot a certain type of a man that they're gonna go to. They don't just go to any man. So they will see how a man is dressed, how he's carrying himself around, how he's buying, then they target this man for a certain reason that they have. Even here in the community, how you carry yourself, you have people who will target you. And those women, they have an eye of a visionary, because there is something that they need to fulfill. So they themselves are a good leader to poverty. They are a good leader either to pain, they are a good leader either to fun, they are a good leader either to something that they want. Because just because you're a leader does not mean that you will always lead yourself to good grounds. There are people who are good at leading them to places where they can't get out, So being a leader is also a matter of knowing the destination that you are going to end in. Yeah, but it's not just a matter of the journey, but also the destination, which I am leading myself to this destination. Because we have people who are just meandering here in life. They're just leading themselves to nowhere. And every time when you ask them, they have an answer. You can see that they are sure of their answer, and yet they are going nowhere. That is dim leadership. So the bright leadership, you need to have a positive outcome or a positive destination of how you are leading yourself and where you are leading yourself to. And so now, making an example with these women, it's actually funny because they know what they want. And as men, when we get to the club, we don't know what we want. That is why most brothers are in jail because of falsely accused of rape. Because they didn't have this leadership mind when they entered this place. Like I said earlier on, when you have a leadership mind, you know who to speak to, you know why you are there, and you know what not to do. And earlier on I said self-discipline is very important when you are a leader. And we have these brothers, may God be with them, who are falsely accused of rape, and they are just sitting there in jails because of this absence of leadership within ourselves, And the sad fact is, sometimes when you are following somebody when you are being led, not everybody who's leading you has good motives at the end of the day about you. Not everybody who's leading you is taking you to a right place. Because people can lead you to a place which is good for them, but bad for you. So the person that you are following, the person that you are with, the person who is leading you, is the destination good for you, or good for both of you, or just good for them? Or you are just following? It's like working for a company. A company can say that we have a 10-year span in our company, and only to find out that they have raised enough money to know that in the next 3 years we can close the company. And yes, they won't tell you, because if they tell you, you will bail out faster before the 3-year period is finished. So they keep you they keep you leading you on this 10-year dream, which is no longer a dream, it's about to become a nightmare for you. So it's the same with people. Men have a way of leading a woman to a place where men know that it is beneficial for them, not for that woman. We have so many women who are single mothers because they were led by men who knew exactly what they wanted. That's a woman didn't know that this man wanted that. And at the end of the day, those women, they trusted that man with false leadership. So leadership is very broad. I'm not talking about this corporate leadership. There's leadership that we get to be taught in these high self-esteem classes. I'm talking about this leadership that we don't speak about. the leadership of people who befriend us and lead us to believing that we have somebody who has our back, only to find out that they are just here for what they want. That is a leadership skill, dark manipulation leadership skill, and we have lots of those. Lots and lots of those, and we have been victim and we have victimized people about that, where a person promises you gold only to find you that he's only giving you brass, so we need to understand the power that we have in our words, the power that we have in our mind, the power that we have in just existing and living in this world. There's kunabantu that who are looking up to us, kunabantu that wish they can be us, kunabantu that don't wish nothing nazi, but you need to learn how to lead. We will be back after these short messages, and I will refer you to the scripture in the Bible after this. This is Celo GT Mngomezulu. You are listening to Downtown Radio, source of inspiration. Sesibuyele-ke uSicelo JT Mngomezulu okhulumayo. Sikhuluma nge-absence of leadership. Yes, silapha kwa-Downtown Radio, ila esikhona khona. So namhlanje-ke ngithena sizodlula kwi-scripture. Yes, masifika kwi-scripture-ke siya ku-Genesis 3, the fall of man. The fall of man. The story of Adam and Eve, how they fell, is very, very interesting, because the first person to arrive at the Garden of Eden was God. God is the one who created the garden, so he was the one who actually arrived first in the Garden of Eden, and then after that he created man. Adam, he was actually literally born old, so he didn't pass through these stages of khula, abe ingane, abe intwana, adlale around, and he was just born old. The poor man opened his eyes and he's an adult. Already the first thing that he's told to do is to work. Adam is giving responsibilities. Okay, so you can imagine how Adam was. I'm not even sure if he was created as how we are, or maybe he was different, because ain't nobody gonna be born old and still be the same like us. All right, so now Eve comes along, and then Eve is created from Adam's rib. Adam is created from the soil, but Eve is created from Adam's rib. All right, let us pass, and then God gave them an instruction. Again, there is a tree of knowledge. Do not eat a fruit from the tree. And what does Adam do? Adam says, okay, no problem. And Eve says, okay, no problem. But Eve befriends a snake, or snake befriends Eve. I'm not even sure how the story is put. And snake tells Eve what to do. And then if you eat these fruits, you'll be like God, and then like God. So Eve is the fruit. And when Eve is the fruit, he brings the fruit to Adam. Adam does not question her. Adam just takes a bite as well. And when God comes in the afternoon, he cannot find them. And then God is calling them. And Adam said that we are naked, and God is like, who the hell told you that you guys are naked? And then Adam said, the woman that you gave me is the one who gave me the fruit. The question is, did Adam exercise good leadership skills in the Garden of Eden? Ilokho ekumele siyibuze khona as abantu besilisa ukuthi, was Adam a good leader in the Garden of Eden? How much could have been prevented if Adam was taught leadership right? So you can see there is part of leadership that was missing for Adam. It's either Adam did not exercise the strong character. You would see, this is what we must not do. So I'm going to drum it in your head. Masinga wenzi loku. But here's one thing that you need to understand. You can be a good leader and have bad followers. You have people who you can lead, no matter how good you are. Because of free will, they will rebel against you. So Adam might have sat down with Eve in some missing chapters and told them, said, listen, what uNkulunkulu sangakudli lokho, what siyasangakudli lokho, sangakudli lokho. And Eve, with a free will, could have decided to go and eat the fruit. And when God comes, did Adam protect the wife, or did Adam just submit to the higher master? Omunye would have said, I know, asas what happened, we just woke up, the fruit was in our mouth. Adam a protector, Eve, which uyena or responsible for all of this. So does this mean that if you are a leader, you need to rat people out, or you need to know how to protect people? Well, it depends. It depends on the value of that person that you have. But does that fairness count? Or does the rule count? So as a leader, you need to learn on how to identify all of that and use it accordingly. So you can say with Adam, he exercised bad leadership skills. Ngoba he never protected Eve, and he never actually taught Eve better on how to manage the garden. But remember, it was Adam who was told to manage the garden. Eve was just helping him, and then Eve helped herself to the fruits. But then one would say, no, Adam, he exercised good leading skills, because the moment God came in, Adam was able to identify the problem and point to God, which is, this is the problem that we have here in the garden. It is this woman. So now when you are a leader, you need to learn all these things. Days are not going to be the same. When you speak about leaders taking risks, you will need to take risks ngabantu. Say, okay, this person is a person of value in my company, so I need to protect them. I see that they made a mistake. For now, I need to protect them, but I need to speak to them and tell them that, no, this is not to be done right. Oh, this person is a very bad person. I've been seeing him from a distance. No, you know what? You need to go. So it's the same with yourself as well, because there are places where you're going to lead yourself to places of failure. And when you get there, you need to be strong enough to point a mistake. Say, you know what? I messed up here. You know what? I am the one who took a wrong turn and I ended up there. You know what? Let me backtrack. Let me backstep. And then let me rework my plan and restart it again. Good leadership. Good leadership skills. Your character matters as a leader. Because people can actually listen to what you are saying, but people are more tuned into how you are doing things. Because just because you are saying A, B, does this mean that you are doing A, B, or you've just passed and went to C, D, what you've just never said? So your character is very important as a leader. So now, when we have all these childhood traumas, when we have absent fathers raising us, when we have bitter mothers raising us, when we have a society that always makes a man or puts a man in a victim, not in a victim, but puts a man in a guilty chair. When we have society that rather crucify a man than to have him speak. When you have society that thinks that a man is always guilty no matter what you do. When you have places of work where a man comes last but a woman comes first, someone would say that, no, you're lying. The places are dominated by women, but by men. Places are dominated by men. But once you become, if you are a man, my bad, if you are a man, then you will know that women sometimes have it easy at the workplace, and there's no gender equity at all. So those are another topic that we're going to visit one day, just to inspire people who are suffering through such as their workplace. But as I'm continuing, so you will understand that in a place like that, in a world where men are actually the guilty ones of everything, we need good leaders. We need to identify the problems, the crises. We need to identify the missing blocks where our children need to step on, so that they don't fall. We need to identify the problems within ourselves, because for us to identify problems in the community, first we need to identify within ourselves. What qualities do I lack to become a good leader? You need to ask yourself that. When I sit down with people, am I a good leader? Do I lead with the mind or with the heart, or do I lead with the vision? You need to ask yourself those questions. Is your IQ equal to your EQ? As a leader, you need to have all of that, because you can be smart and still lack emotional quotient. You don't know how to handle everything. You don't know how to handle pressure. You don't even know how to pinpoint people who can handle pressure. So you always lose your marbles whenever somebody's missing a deadline, whenever somebody is missing something, or even you become even hard to yourself when things are not coming right, to a point where you crucify yourself and thus sabotaging yourself. So you need to become a good leader to yourself first. Lead yourself out of imaginary places. Lead yourself out of stagnations. Lead yourself out of mental poverty. Lead yourself out of spiritual bondage. Lead yourself out of pain and go to find freedom. Freedom is maintained every day, and freedom has a price. Freedom isn't free at all. Freedom has a very high price. That is why people choose to live a mundane life, because for them to have freedom, they need to break the chains. They need to fight those people who are guarding them outside the prison. Because when a prisoner is escaping the prison, first, he needs to escape his shackles. Then he needs to escape his cell. Then he needs to navigate around the premises to get to the door. When he gets to the door, he needs to fight the guard. Once he fights the guard, he needs to run. And once he's done running, he needs to start living a life of hiding until dust settles down, and then he is free. So you see the price of freedom that is not actually free. So most people are not leaders because they cannot pay the price of freedom. And leadership comes with freedom. Because you have freedom to choose, freedom to do as you will, because you are getting to your vision. And before we close, we need to understand that we are all leaders. All of us are leaders, and all of us are followers. So we need to pay attention to the people that we are following and people that we are leading. And in that way, we'll be able to create a nation which is very strong. Not just a nation, but we're going to create selves. Yes, you're going to create selves which are very strong, which have a good character, which know when they are wrong, which are smart enough to know that they are wrong, and smart enough to know that they are not wrong. We're going to create people who know that we need to have associates, people who can build us towards our vision. Surround yourself with people who are building you towards your goal. Don't just have anybody around you. You need to have people who are building you to your goal. So if you have a goal, you have a vision, you have a dream, then you will know who you need next to you. But if you don't have that, this means that you lack the leadership mentality, because you're not leading yourself to your dream, not leading yourself to your future. In that way, we will live large, we will live long, and we will live a fulfilling life. Stella JT Mngomezulu has just left the building. Welcome to Downtown Radio on the source of inspiration. Peace.